Joe asked me to talk about some bird habitats in northwest Arkansas. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of that. So that's the Harrison sparrow with the best wildlife food in northwest Arkansas in winter, poison ivy, relished by lots of birds. So, did we miss one? Okay, that's right. I'm going to cover a group of habitats, certainly not everything, but I just wanted to give you an idea of the range of bird habitats in northwest Arkansas and a few ideas about them. So, what you're looking at here is the approximate range of the original tallgrass prairie around Fayetteville and Springville primarily. And if you notice this is also the approximate range of everything that's built up. So, and that's because it's easy to build on tallgrass prairies. And but we do have some habitat. These old prairies have lots of interesting birds on them. In this case, it's a painted bunting. And indigo bush, another native plant associated with this grassland habitat. And just a few examples, we're going to go through them here. Native, non-native grasslands, including woolly wet prairie. And we're going to look at a few upland hardwood forests, and I tried to mention Kessler Mountain, an effort to preserve part of that area. Seasonal wetlands, Wilson Springs, right in the middle of Belfry, Fayetteville. Short-leaf pine hardwood at Hobbs State Park. Just some farmland, traditional Ozark farmland at Nine-Stowe Land Trust. And then some urban things, Callie's Prairie at Lake Fayetteville. So just take a quick look. This is the west side wastewater treatment plant, and this is Woolsey Wet Prairie, and you can see the circular areas on there are actually prairie mounds, and you can see these on the Google Earth map. And this area, the wetlands mitigation, and Mitchell's already introduced you on the wonderful birds that we found out. And Woolsey has just been a really attractive place for birds. It's to me, it's a classic example of what happens is you have a high-quality habitat in an urban area and you protect it, and you give access. So here's Mitchell with Doug out there on one Mitchell strip, and there's the bird sparrow, and here's a whole bunch of people here that were out. That's Mike Maudnoff from the Blue Stock Academy found this bird, and people just came from all over the place. And to me, it's a really good example of, it's a small number of acres, but it's in a really critical spot. And the protection of those kind of habitats makes all the difference in the quality of life in this area. And Tennessee Prairie over Siloam Springs is another example. Originally, there were 24 square miles of native tallgrass prairie around Siloam Springs. Now there's about 80 acres. That's what's left. And this is Chesney. The red is a trail that Joe Woolbright has kept open. Makes it easy to walk there even when the grass is pretty high. It's an outstanding place just to get out and help. And Beatty Prairie up by Maysville in Benton County. There's no public land there. If you don't know somebody who owns land, you're pretty much stuck on the roads and that sort of thing. But there are, and most of Beatty Prairie is gone botanically. So the botanists all don't like us to say tallgrass prairie. They like us to say former tallgrass prairie because it's been so degraded. But the areas that are outlined in red on this map are roadside places that have lots of tallgrass prairie vegetation in them. And so it's an attempt to kind of try to save a little bit of what was the Beatty Prairie around Maysville. And Kessler Mountain here in Fayetteville, Finger Park is one of the parks that goes up on Kessler. And when that park was originally created, Frank Sharp, who was then on the city board, tried to add about 200 acres right on top of Kessler Mountain that the real estate industry is primarily in favor of quality bitterly over it and managing to keep the city from acquiring it. And now, again, Frank and the coalition involves quite a few people in Fayetteville now are trying to acquire about 400 acres that can now be purchased on Headstone. And it's got an old growth hardwood forest on it, and this is just a little section of the tree that germinated about the time of the American Revolution. It's got interesting rock formations in it, interesting fossils. And the other night I was up there when we had that big 2-inch rain. There's a pond right there, and spotted salamanders were walking into that pond. So it's an opportunity to expand the green space in the urban area. And the upland hardwood forests have lots of interesting birds in it. This is a hermit thrush, and they're here right now. And Wilson Springs is another really pretty interesting piece of property within our area. There's about 120 acres in there that are in conservation trust. And this all got started when students here at the university found an unusual fish called the Arkansas Garter in the spring. And then after they found the fish, we started going out there and started finding all kinds of interesting birds and plants. And I know that you guys, nobody's looking at their watches, right? You don't stand here all night. I can tell you the whole story of Wilson Springs. But at any rate, it's been a little difficult to deal with because it sits right next to 540 and it's out by the mall, and it's right in a handy place to build houses and so forth. But it looks like that green area that's in the middle there is probably not going to get built up. It is in the trust. There are some restoration activities ongoing in there, and it's an interesting place to visit. That's Wilson Springs. And it is a seasonal wetland. That means that it's not a wetland in the sense that you go down in South Louisiana. It's a wetland in the sense that when it rains a lot, the clay-rich soil in there contains a lot of water. And there's an endemic crayfish that lives there, and there are lots of wetland-type birds in season. And right after the Buffalo River, the dams were stopped on the Buffalo River, and the National Park was created over there. There were a lot of Fayetteville, Northwest Arkansas people involved in that fight to stop it. And we benefited from that because they immediately went to work trying to make sure that Fayetteville had a very high quality wastewater treatment plant on the White River, because after all, we know where the White River flows, right? Everybody knows where it goes.